Okay, Civics kids, I want to welcome you guys to the first lecture of the year. The plan is really simple. I'm going to provide you with the PowerPoint, I'm going to provide you with the notes, but I'm also going to verbally go through the notes with you because I think it's important that you see me up here trying to show you some things that maybe you don't understand as you're looking through these notes. And this will give you an opportunity to better understand what we're talking about. The plan is to not lecture longer than 13 to 17 minutes, I don't know, and we'll just keep pushing forward. And today the plan is to get through section 1. I know you were given an assignment yesterday that I don't think was too intense. The plan isn't to be too intense right now. And you need to get that completed so that I can start grading those and putting them in SIS. And you will, from now on, at least for the time being, get these notes, get this PowerPoint, see me talking about it as we prepare for assessments further on down the road after each chapter. Okay, so I guess we're just going to jump into it and talk about a few simple things. And it's a huge year, being that it's an election year. I know you guys aren't able to vote in the upcoming election, but you will in 2024. So we're going to take time to learn about citizenship, democracy, voting rights, political parties as we lead right into the first week of November when we will be choosing the next president of the United States. So we're going to start with what Americans are. The first thing we're going to look at is why do we study civics? So civics is the study of your duties and your rights. You know, what's expected of you within this country. What am I able to do? What am I possibly not able to do? Okay, civics comes from the Latin word civis, so a lot of our language is derived from Latin, and this is no different. So to be a citizen, we're all citizens here. I think it's just a matter of how we approach it, right? It's a matter of what we do. It's a matter of the rights we have and what's expected. But you are important. Just because you can't vote in the upcoming election doesn't mean that you aren't important. Every single one of us has a responsibility for this country. And, you know, there are good times, there are bad times. We all know this. But this is how our government runs, right? Giving us those rights to put people in or out of office and to do things that push our country forward. Or decisions that have been made to pull our country back, but we correct those, right? So this is what it's all about, and this is really what we're going to dive into. So let's look at a few things. How are some ways that you can show some citizenship? There are easy things for you guys. Like I said, you can't vote, but you know what you can do? You can volunteer. Volunteering is a great opportunity. Helping the elderly. I know it's a crazy situation right now with COVID and what's taking place, but those are simple ways to prove your citizenship, and there are other things that you can do as well. But I think volunteering is huge. Working at a soup kitchen, whatnot. These are ways that you, as you know, a young high school student, can be a part and demonstrate good citizenship. Is what we're talking about. Don't worry about reading page 3. We're not going to talk about that. Remember, you do have the assignment at the end of section 1 that talks about volunteering and whatnot, so make sure you do that from your homework, but do not worry about this page 3. In terms of Americans, how are we defined? Obviously, we're extremely diverse. We try to gather information to get a portrait of our people, right? Of where we are, where we live, and what we are. We study the size, the growth, and the distribution of our population. If I was to ask you where the majority of people live in the United States, I think all of you in here would probably say cities, because it's true, okay? We are an urban society. That doesn't mean some of you here do not love or want to live on a farm or out in nature or out in the mountains. I know there are people who want to do that, but we are attracted to the city for tons of reasons that we'll get into later, okay? What can help define who Americans are? We've got where we live, what we do, our age, and our backgrounds. This goes along with diversity, right? We are an extremely diverse country. All different types of belief systems for us, and and that is kind of what makes the country what it is. And we'll get into something called a mosaic of the United States with our next lecture, okay? Where do we live? We are all over, right? You got people living in the Rocky Mountains, you got people living in the middle of North Dakota, you've got people that are living in the freezing temperatures of Alaska up by the North Pole, and then you've got people that are in the deserts of Arizona. I read that in Death Valley, California, it reached something like 125 degrees yesterday. That is crazy. Clearly that's one of the, that's a desert in California that 125 degrees, I don't know about you, but I ain't gonna make it. But we are varied. There are choices for you in terms of where you want to live. You could live in an apartment and have 10,000 people living around you in the city of Chicago within a square mile, or you could live out on a ranch in the middle of nowhere in Wyoming and barely interact with people on a weekly, maybe monthly basis. Okay? Then and now, early, where do we mostly live? When we first started as a country, small towns. Small towns, much like I live in a town of 1,000 people. That would probably be a big town back then. But you lived in these small towns, you lived off the coast, you lived close to the water, you didn't venture out too far, but you had your small groups, and a lot of them were family and friend based, okay? But as more of us show up, more of us push westward. Right now in US history, we're talking about the Oregon Trail and pushing west. That's just common, that's human nature. Once people started living together, people wanted to get away from these urban areas and they pushed west, okay? As time goes on, people continue to push west. Once we've settled in the whole country, people did gravitate to the cities. Why do you think people gravitate to the cities? Well, think about St. Louis compared to Belleville. More opportunities, right? More places to eat, more places to go, more things to see, more jobs are offered in the city of St. Louis than perhaps in Belleville. So people started to gravitate to those areas. There was more money in those areas, and that's what people did, okay? In today's society, there are approximately 328 million people in the US. 4 out of every 5 of us lives in an urban area. This is considered urban. I know we're 15 miles away from the city, but we are close enough to the city to be considered an urban part of the country. So you are looking at what's known as the Sun Belt, okay? These are states where a lot of people like to retire. What's the main reason? The weather is probably the biggest thing that we're looking at for some people. We've got Texas, Louisiana, Florida, Mississippi. These are warm states in here. I'm not too sure where we have Colorado there, but those are the states we're looking at. And then you start to see people pushing west, okay? And this is just a little graph that's showing you the center of the population of the United States at a certain time in terms of so many people this way and so many people that way, where would be the center point. And in 2000, it was right in the middle of Missouri. So there's tons of people here. Then you get to Missouri. We know in the plains, there's not a ton of people, and then there's a lot of people, right, in California and in those areas out west. So that's what it's kind of looking at. In terms of where we work, it's pretty simple. There are over 30,000 choices for jobs out there. I think there's more than that now. Almost 75% of them are what we call service jobs. So a service job is just what it says, right? You provide a service to someone else. The simplest thing for us to look at is the waiter right here, right? That is a service job, bartender, waiter. You provide a service for someone, and those people pay you for that service, okay? And the majority of our jobs in this country are providing services for others, right? Farmers, service job, right? They're producing to get the food to the market to be turned into what you get on the shelves, isn't it? 100 years ago, most Americans worked in farming. Why don't you think people work in farming anymore? Obviously, we have these open-ended questions that you might want to think about. But if you think, why there aren't so many people working in farming, machines, right? One machine can do the work of probably 100 farmers now. And one machine can just go through and work tons of land compared to what it was back in the day, right? Look at this machine compared to that gentleman right there. okay? Can you think of any other service jobs besides, you said waiters, bartenders, farmers? Some people would say teachers are a service job. I'm providing an education for you, so on and so forth. How old are we? You can look in your book, it talks about certain things. This is a question for you. Do you think we're getting younger or older? I think it's pretty simple. We are definitely getting older. Some of the reasons that we are getting older is down here, okay? We've got better medical care. They can give you, they can provide you with medicine. They can provide you with surgeries to help you that were never available back in the day. Increased life expectancy, 76 years old. I believe this is for women. Women do have a longer life expectancy than men. And then you've got the baby boom generation. The baby boom generation is really simple. This was a time when there was a massive amount of births between 1946 and 1964. Simply put, World War II had ended, people were happy, right? People were happy, servicemen were coming home to their wives, and children were being born. My parents are part of the baby boom generation. They are now retired, and there was a massive influx of people. Why did this happen? Like we just said, because of the end of the war. And now we've got an issue though with these people retiring, whether or not we can afford Social Security. Now, you'll study this in detail in US history, but if you don't know what Social Security is, it's basically a payment that you receive when you're retired because you're not working. And there's a worry that we will run out of money because more people will be needing that money than there are working because of this baby boom generation. All right, so it's just something to think about as we push forward. All right. In the end, what we're going to finish with is our backgrounds, right? So, what are some ways that we are diverse? Okay, what are some ways you want to think about diversity within Belleville, within the Metro East, within St. Louis, within the country? And it's really simple. Our ages make us diverse. What I may think is important to me may not be that big of a deal to you, right? We have different beliefs in certain things. Where we live might play a huge role, right, in terms of what we deem important to us that makes us diverse. Our backgrounds, clearly, different cultures, ethnic groups, languages, food, all of these things play a role when it comes into how diverse, and they call the United States a melting pot, right, of different beliefs and things. And in my opinion, that's what makes this country a great place, is having all of those different choices and having those different beliefs and different belief systems that there are. And that's where we're going to stop the notes for today. Hopefully you are completed or have completed your assignment and turn it in to me so I can start grading those. If you ever have any questions, please reach out. I am in front of my computer screen all day long, and then in the evening you can reach out to me with Google Hangouts or an email, and I will get back to you. After about 9:30, 10 o'clock, I'm usually going to sleep. Because I'm an old guy, I'm 40 years old, and I don't want to, I got to get my rest, right? At that age, you got to get your rest. So if I don't get back to you after that time, I will definitely be communicating with you early in the morning the next day, okay? So I hope everything's going well for you guys, and we will be in touch soon. Be on the lookout for some stuff in the stream, and I hope you're enjoying CNN Top 10 because I think it's an awesome resource for us this year. Have a great one.